Welcome to VWG. From Oakville, Ontario, we have artist Catfish.
Hello.
Hello. Okay, to get things started, what is Catfish? Like, where did the name come from?
Well, growing up, I grew up reading manga, which is Japanese comics, and I knew basically from when I started reading that I wanted to make my own. But I never thought that people would want to read a Japanese comic from a Western creator. So I wanted to come up with a pen name, also mimicking the styles of some of my favorite manga artists like Clamp and Peach Pit. So took a long time to try to decide on something that I thought sounded kind of cute um, and kind of memorable. And I landed on Catfish because I love cats and I love water. So happened to merge the two.
Which completely makes sense. You're also a comic book artist. Who and what has inspired you to write comic books?
um, Again, like I said, I grew up reading manga. The series that first got me really hooked was a series called Cardcaptor Sakura by Clamp. I watched that cartoon. I later found out there's a comic, and the art is just so beautiful, and the story hooked me as a young viewer, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And then as you can see, I have lots of manga.
Hmm.
I've been reading since I was 10. Um, my first comic was actually a Pokemon comic book that I got from the dollar store. And since then, I've fallen in love with creators like Junji Ito, um, Hiromu Arakawa, um, many others.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Now, you're known for Little Mizzy Muffet and the Spider King, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's my currently my first and biggest claim to fame.
Who are those characters?
So they're the main characters of my comic, Little Mizzy Muffet and the Spider King. As you can probably tell from the name, they're actually based off of the nursery rhyme, Little Miss Muffet.
Mhm.
And so all the characters of my comics are characters based on other nursery rhyme characters.
Very cool. I was going to ask you another question, but you already answered it, sort of. If you based off of the characters anything personal or anything in your life, or do they just come in your head?
So I did mention they originally were based off of nursery rhyme characters. Um, it actually started with a drawing of this original character I was newly creating, which was like this spider demon creature. And I really liked it. So I wanted to put him into a story. And then the first thing that had come into my mind was the nursery rhyme. So I continued creating characters like that. Um, but it's as a writer, I think you take a little bit of yourself and the people you know and what inspires you to create your characters and your story. Um, so parts of them come from many different sources. A little bit of my own soul goes into them. And I just recently realized how similar my comic was to The Labyrinth, the Jim Henson movie with David Bowie.
Love Jim Henson. Okay, last question, and then I'm gonna give it all to you. You'll find out what that means after the last question.
Okay.
Could we see these in a these characters in a TV show one day, or some sort of media other than comics?
That's definitely the dream. So I myself am a comic book creator. But I'm also a cinephile. Um, I would love to see him get adapted into. My first choice would be an animated series. I wouldn't say no if they wanted to adapt it into a live action show or movie. Um, it's definitely tough to get the ball rolling. When I get closer to completing the story, I'm past the halfway mark. I would like to start pitching it to different companies. Hopefully, some of them take a bite. But yeah, that's definitely the dream of getting my story adapted one day.
Oh, dreams are gonna come true for you. I just know it. Okay, so we're done with this interview. Do you want to ask me anything?
What got you into doing interviews, especially specifically interviewing fellow Canadians?
Well, let's go back to January 2022. I was thinking about maybe making a YouTube channel where I just interview people because, I like talking to people and I like making connections and making new friends. And it all started in April 2022 when I first interviewed a former TV show guy who I used to watch in my childhood.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. And get on your Canadians thing. I started to interview Canadians and a couple of foreigners, but my next set of interviews are gonna only be Canadians or people who moved to Canada.
I gotcha.
Oh yes.
I
And
also try to connect with fellow Canadian comic book artists.
hmm, anything else you want to ask?
You look young yourself. Are you still going to school? Are you taking interviewing in school at all? And are you going to pursue that as a bigger career?
Thanks for the compliment to start. Well, I'm just doing interviews for fun. And I just finished third semester of Seneca College TV broadcasting,
Okay,
and I'm going back in January to finish it off.
excellent. Well, I wish you luck with that. I'm sure
Uh,
you'll make a good TV personality.
Meow. Thank you. Do you know what I did?
Yeah.
And do you, any more questions, or you can't think of anything else at the moment?
I think that's all I got.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me, and yeah, you're the best, Catfish.
Well, thank you for wanting to talk to me and reaching out and taking interest in my work.
No problem. I love everything in the background, by the way.
Thank you. I've amassed this collection over many years.